Wait.
Hold on.
Now go.
I guess I was about 7 years old, and Daddy would drink. He's bad at drinking on the weekends and through the week, mainly on the weekends. But what back then when I was growing up, see, back then you couldn't take a kid in a place where they sold beer. They call them beer joints. You couldn't. They wouldn't let you take a kid in there. So what? It was July, August, sometime hot in the summer. Red clay out there, a place called Miracle Circle. They called it that because it was a miracle if you made it through it when you was driving. But it was just red clay, red dirt roads, and there was a beer joint over there on one side of it that had monkey cages, and had these cages, I guess probably 8 or 10 monkeys in it. But and they stacked up, like three here, 2 here, whatever. But anyway, it got pretty high, about high as this ceiling right here, and the old tree growing out there, and it had a baboon on about a 50-foot chain, and that baboon sat up on top of he just wandered around with that 50-foot chain. But he had this, you know what a toe sack is? Some people call them gunny sacks, but the toe sack, it's an old coal sack is what they used to, burlap, it's a burlap bag. And that was his bed. Well, when the guys that was drinking, that all the drunks and everybody that was going in to drink, Daddy made me stay in the truck while he went in there and socialized. And there was those guys would get out there and aggravate that baboon, and they'd run over there and grab his gunny sack, his toe sack, take off running with it. And that baboon chased him. When he'd chase him, he'd run out of chain, he'd jerk him backwards and cut him a flip, and they'd laugh at him. They thought that was the funniest thing, and then they'd throw this bag back up there. Well, I was watching all this, and like I said, it was July hot, red clay dirt. And so they went inside the beer joint, and I was in the truck, 7, 8 years old. I was real young. I don't know how, real young. Because Daddy died when I was 9, so it had been about 7. So I got out of the truck, and I walked up, and I remember I walked up like this, and I could see that gunny sack laying over there. And I looked at that gunny sack, and I looked up that baboon looked straight at me. I looked at that gunny sack, that baboon looked at that gunny sack. I look at him, he look at me. And I don't know what come over me. All of a sudden, I just took off just as hard as I could run toward that gunny sack. And I grabbed it, and I could hear that chain rattle. Because he was coming down off the top of them monkey cages. And I turned around and run just as hard as I could run. And I could hear that chain rattling right behind me. And I'm talking this baboon. You ever seen a baboon?
Yeah.
They big. And you take a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, and you ain't no big. That's like a gorilla getting a hold of me now. And
that's a tough animal.
Yeah. And I was running, and I thought, just instantly I thought, well, if I drop this sack, he'll leave me alone. I dropped that sack, I was running, and he didn't even slow down. He knew he had me. All of a sudden, I felt something on my back. He took a jump and grabbed me, hit on my back. When he did, he was so heavy, it just knocked me down. Me and him both slid across the dirt. And I was screaming and hollering, and he was snarling and biting at my neck and scratching and kicking and all kinds of stuff. And I was screaming and hollering, and I guess they heard me inside. And Daddy come running out there, and he grabbed that baboon chain and slung him back up in there. In his place, and throw his sack back up in there. And I was done towards I was snubbing. I was carrying on, boy. Boy, what's wrong with you? You can't, what are you doing? I couldn't even talk, Get back in that truck. And I got back in the truck, but I'm tell you what, that scared the living Duke out of me now when that baboon got on my back.
Ronnie and I both have monkey stories. I have monkey stories too.
Anyway, that's story baboon.